Are having all three of the top travel credit cards worth over $1,600 a year? What about if you have a Player 2? Is it worth even spending more? I currently spend over $1,700 a year on an Amex Platinum for my wife and I, as well as one Venture X. And I'm now considering upgrading one or both of our Sapphire Preferreds to the Sapphire Reserve. That could actually mean up to an additional $1,100 a year. So does $2,800 make any sense? Now, most people only need one travel credit card. So as I develop my strategy going forward, I want you to join me. By the end, I'll let you know what my strategy and why. But more importantly, I promise you will know which one of these credit cards are best for you. To ensure you have all of the essential information you need, I'm gonna break this down into 7 categories. We're gonna talk about the welcome bonuses of the credit cards, the annual fees, the multipliers, the annual credits, the benefits, the insurance and protections, and of course, the lounges. So let's start with the welcome bonus. Welcome bonuses are an essential part of building your bank of points and miles. Now, as a baseline, we're gonna value these welcome bonuses at 1 cent per point. But that 1 cent per point is really just a baseline for us to use. We really are expecting to get a lot more out of those points and miles. The ideal use of points and miles is to be able to transfer them to different travel partners for each of these issuers. I have actually done this with my upcoming trip to Sydney, Australia. For instance, I took 260,000 Chase points and transferred them to Hyatt to be able to stay at the Park Hyatt in Sydney. And the cash value of that stay is $10,000. So with that transfer, I'm getting nearly 4 cents per point. I also transferred 320,000 points, most of it from Capital One, to Qantas to be able to get my wife and I first class seats on the A380 to fly to Australia. The cash price for each of those seats are nearly $14,000 each. This meant the airline redemption was for nearly 9 cents per point. Now, these are exceptional redemptions, but they are definitely not the norm. I only say it to be able to let you know of how powerful points and miles that you gain can be. Just be sure that before you apply for any credit card for a welcome bonus, that you ensure that you have a plan through your everyday spend or planned purchases to reach the required spend in the required period of time. So the first card we're going to look at is the Capital One Venture X. It comes with 75,000 Capital One miles with $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. Now, valuing that at 1 cent per point, we're looking at a cash value of $750. Next, we have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and for that one, we're getting 60,000 points for $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. Now, based on a 1 cent per point valuation, we're only looking at $600 on this card. Now, this card does come with a special feature. If you use your points and use them within the Chase Travel Portal, you'll get a 50% bonus on the value of your points. Keeping that in mind, we are now looking at those 60,000 points being worth actually $900. We then come to the wild card, the American Express Platinum. At the time of this video, you'll see that the standard offer is 80,000 points for $8,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months. But there's actually nothing standard about what you can get. If you are considering the American Express Platinum card, I tell everyone, go to their website, but use a different browser and also look at it through the incognito or in private mode. Now, I've seen that welcome bonus be as high as 175,000 points, and that is for the same amount of spend in the same amount of time. So by just investing a few minutes, you can make an enormous difference on your welcome bonus. So whichever credit card that you may be considering, you can't go wrong with any of these welcome bonuses. So how about that annual fee? Now, I'll be honest, these annual fees can literally take your breath away. But I can honestly tell you, I don't pay attention to the annual fee. I know that may seem strange, but bear with me for a few minutes and I'll explain. The annual fee of the American Express Platinum card is $695. And if you're looking to get an authorized user, it's an additional $195. Now, when it comes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you're looking at $550, so a little bit less than the Platinum. And for an authorized user, it's $75. We then have the Capital One Venture X coming in at the lowest amount of $395. But even better than that, you get up to 4 authorized users at no cost. So do we say that because the Capital One Venture X has the lowest annual fee, it's the best card for you? The answer is not necessarily. And this is why I say that I don't focus on the annual fee. I focus on the effective annual fee. And the difference is that when you look at the effective annual fee, you are deducting the value as you see it, the benefits that come with the credit card. By determining your own personal value of these benefits, you now get to compare these credit cards apples to apples. When I make that $695 payment on a single Platinum credit card, I have to know that I'm going to get the benefits of that credit card that's going to meet or exceed that annual fee that I'm making a payment on. As we evaluate each of these cards, I'll make sure to point out items that you need to consider related to that effective annual fee. And at the end, I'll show you a couple of calculations of how I'm determining my effective annual fee, and that'll help you make things crystal clear on what's best for you, not just for these cards, but for any credit card that has an annual fee. Now let's take a look at the multipliers. Multipliers are so important because it allows us to know how we're going to be able to use that card on a daily basis to generate the points and miles we need. And as we look at the multipliers on each of these cards, we're going to see that they are very different. So let's start with the American Express Platinum. As far as multipliers, you're going to get 5x on hotels that you book through the Amex travel portal. You'll also get 5x on airline purchases through the portal and directly with the airlines. That's it. Very simple, but not many multipliers. Next, we have the Venture X, and we're going to see some significant differences. You're going to get 10x on hotels and rental cars that you get through the Capital One travel portal, 5x on airlines through the travel portal, 5x for Capital One entertainment, and 2x on everything else. With the Venture X, we start to get a little bit more opportunities for multipliers outside of travel. How about the Chase Sapphire Reserve? You're going to get 10x on hotels and rental cars booked through the travel portal. You'll get 10x on Chase dining, 5x on airlines through the travel portal, 3x on all other travel, as well as 3x on dining. So let's take a look at a few items that I want you to keep in mind as we look at those multipliers. When it comes to the American Express Platinum, you aren't seeing a lot of multipliers, but there is one feature that the other two don't have, and that is the ability to book airlines and get that 5x, booking them through the airline itself, not the travel portal. And that can definitely be a strong benefit when you're looking at airlines. Now, when it comes to the Venture X, there's two really great features about this card. You're getting 5x on Capital One entertainment. So if you're a person that goes to concerts or sporting events, you can really utilize that multiplier. And number two is because you're going to get at least 2x on any purchase you make, it makes the card a great catch-all card to ensure that you always at least get 2x on any purchase. Now, when it comes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, we're seeing that we're going to get a lot more out of this than just travel. You're getting 10x on Chase Dining, which is a platform that you have on Chase to be able to go to different restaurants in a lot of major cities. And then you're also getting 3x dining, which as a multiplier is very good. And as well, you're getting 3x on travel. And that is for all other type of travel, such as ferries, taxis, parking garages. It can really be able to generate you daily points depending upon how you utilize it. So now let's take a look at annual credits. Now this is a category that's definitely going to factor into that effective annual fee we talked about earlier. Two of these cards will have annual credits that are very similar with one distinct difference, and the other one is just in a complete league of its own. Let's start with the Venture X. Now the Venture X has a $300 travel credit, which is really nice. The only caveat is that you have to use it within the Capital One travel portal, but that's still not bad. Next, we have the Chase Sapphire Reserve that also has a $300 annual credit. The difference though is that you don't have to do the spending within the travel portal. This $300 travel credit can be used within the portal or outside of the portal, which makes it the easiest to use. And now the American Express Platinum. It has a reputation of being the premium card that is a coupon book. And that coupon book of potential credits amounts to over $1,500 of credits available. Now, as a person with two of these cards in my household, I can easily tell you that the value is in the eye of the beholder. There are some credits that I give no value to, and there's also some credits that I only give minimal value to. I actually did an in-depth review of each of these benefits and how I valued each of them when I looked at if I was going to keep the American Express Platinum card or not. If you're even considering the Platinum card, I encourage you to watch it so that you can follow along and give your own value for each of those benefits. For today's purposes though, let me give you 3 of the more popular credits that come with the card. The first one is the $200 hotel credit, and it's one I definitely use every single year, booking a hotel when going out to see my in-laws when I go through Vegas. The second one is a $200 credit for Uber Cash, which can be used for Uber Eats or for Uber. Now, while this is a beneficial credit, I did not value it as the full amount for me for multiple reasons. How about the $189 clear credit? I give full value to that credit and I use it every time I'm at the airport, and it makes going through security so much quicker and easier. Now, how about premium travel benefits for TSA PreCheck, Global Entry, or Nexus? If you're not familiar with these 3 programs, let me touch on them briefly. When it comes to Nexus, if you spend time in both Canada and the United States often, you may want to look at Nexus to be able to provide you easy access if you're a low-risk traveler, either on land, sea, or air between the 2 countries. And with Nexus, you'll also have access to Global Entry and TSA PreCheck when in the United States. Now, when it comes to Global Entry, you get to have easier process of coming back into the United States when traveling abroad through immigration with the Global Entry. And Global Entry includes TSA PreCheck. And as far as TSA PreCheck, that is for domestic travel within the United States, and it allows you to be able to get clearance so that you can leave your computer in your bag and not take off your shoes, keep your belt on, and it makes going through the security process much easier. A premium travel credit card will commonly provide you elite status and benefits with hotels as well as with rental cars, and we are seeing that with each of these 3 cards. Let's start with the Capital One Venture X. When it comes to rental cars, you're going to get elite status at Hertz, Avis, as well as National Car Rental. Now, when it comes to hotels, Capital One has the Premier Collection, which are fine hotels around the world, and you get essentially status because you're going to be able to get an experience credit, you're going to get free breakfast, as well as some other features that come with status. One additional item that is very specific to Capital One is that each anniversary you're going to get 10,000 anniversary points to have in your account. Now, when it comes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you're going to get rental car status with Avis as well as National Car Rental, and they have their own hotel collection called the Edit that is very comparable to what we saw from Capital One. And then last but definitely not least is the American Express Platinum. When it comes to rental cars, you'll get elite status at Avis, Hertz, as well as the National Car Rental. And they have their hotel collection called Fine Hotels and Resorts with the same similar benefits that we see with Chase and with Capital One. In addition, you're actually going to get gold status with Hilton and Marriott just for having the American Express Platinum card. Now, when looking at all 3 of these cards, when it comes to the rental car elite status, I have definitely enjoyed having it. It has provided ease of use, it has provided skipping the line, it's allowed me to pick the car that I want out of a group, and has made it a much better vacation experience. And as far as the hotels, I've had the pleasure of being able to use the American Express Fine Hotel and Resorts program multiple times when I've been in Las Vegas. And for when you don't have status someplace, this will make you feel like you have some status because of the different benefits that come with the program. And when it comes to the American Express card, having gold status at Hilton and Marriott is just a nice small touch, whether it is bottles of water that you're able to get, or a food credit, or potentially an upgraded room from time to time. Now let's look at some additional benefits that come with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. On all Lyft rides through March of 2025, you're going to have an increased multiplier of 10x when using the card. And just by having the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you'll get a 2-year complimentary all-access Lyft Pink membership. You just have to make sure to activate it by December 31st of 2024. And if you want to continue the membership into year 3, you'll get a 50% off discount. You'll also have a 1-year Dash Pass for DoorDash as well as Caviar. You'll also get a $5 monthly credit through January of 2025 for Caviar or DoorDash. And you'll actually get $10 off of 2 non-restaurant orders through DoorDash every month. And if you're interested in Peloton equipment or accessories, through March 31st of 2025, you'll get 10x as a multiplier for any purchase that is over $150 up to $5,000. These partner benefits really expand the amount of benefits that you're going to get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So let's take a look at the insurance and the protections that you get with each of these credit cards. The first thing we see is that each of these credit cards have trip delay, trip interruption, as well as trip cancellation coverage. We also see lost luggage reimbursement, as well as travel and emergency assistance. Now let's actually take a look at some of the differences of some of the coverages. When it comes to primary collision damage waiver, we see that Capital One and Chase has that coverage, but not for American Express Platinum. You get secondary. With primary collision damage waiver, you're able to go directly through the credit card first for any type of claim versus your insurance company. When it comes to travel accident insurance, we also see that Capital One and Chase have that, but not American Express. And when it comes to baggage delay insurance, we only see that Chase has that coverage. If you ever need emergency evacuation and transportation, we see that Chase as well as American Express Platinum have that coverage, but not Capital One. When it comes to cell phone protection, we see that both American Express and Capital One do provide that coverage when you use that card to pay the bill, but Chase does not have that. When it comes to purchase coverage, we see all three of them have purchase protection, return protection, as well as extended warranty coverage. Now, a premium travel credit card cannot be one if it doesn't have lounge access. So let's start with Capital One. You're gonna get, for Priority Pass, you're gonna get access for you and an unlimited number of guests. You'll also get access to Plaza Premium for you and 2 additional guests. And of course, you get access to the Capital One lounges for you and up to 2 guests. Now, the Capital One lounges are still in its early stages, and there's currently 3 of them at the time of this video. There's one in Dallas, Fort Worth, Denver, as well as Washington Dulles. There are 2 additional lounges that are slated for Las Vegas, as well as JFK in New York. In addition to the lounges, they are going to start having Capital One landings, and one is going to be at Washington, D.C. at Reagan, and the second one will be located at LaGuardia in New York. So as we can see, the Capital One program is still growing, but it does have a good foundation already. So how about the Chase Sapphire Reserve? Well, you're going to get access to Priority Pass lounges for you and up to 2 guests. And just recently, Chase Sapphire Reserve cardholders now actually have access to Air Canada's Maple Leaf lounges and cafes in select locations throughout the United States, Canada, and Europe when you are flying on a Star Alliance airline. And of course, you get access for you and up to 2 guests at the branded Chase Sapphire lounges by the club. And these lounges are growing at a faster pace than Capital One's lounges. There are currently locations in Boston, Hong Kong, and LaGuardia, and as well as JFK. And there are planned locations in Las Vegas, Philadelphia, Phoenix, as well as San Diego. Now, when we talk about the king of the lounges, the undisputed champion is the American Express Platinum. With the American Express Platinum, you're going to get access to the Priority Pass lounges for you and up to 2 guests. You'll have Plaza Premium access for you and 1 additional guest, and you also get access to the Centurion lounges. The Centurion lounges are well established around the world, with 29 of them and 15 of them located here in the United States. You'll also have access to select Lufthansa lounges, and you also have access to Delta Sky Clubs when flying Delta and having the Platinum card. No other credit card comes close to allowing you that much access to lounges around the world. Now, I said previously that I was going to walk you through a couple of calculations to determine what your effective annual fee may be. So let's take a look at the Chase Sapphire Reserve. $550 annual fee. You get a $300 travel credit, which we fully expect to utilize. That brings your effective annual fee down to $250. Now, we mentioned earlier that if you're getting the Chase Sapphire Reserve before December 31st of 2024, you're going to get a 2-year complimentary membership for Lyft Pink. And the value of that Lyft Pink All Access is $199 per year. Now, for me, Lyft Pink is not something I would give a value to because I rarely rideshare. But if you are a person that was normally using rideshare and using Lyft and saw value in the All Access Pink program, then you may give a certain amount or the full amount as a benefit that you're getting for those first 2 years. So we are now at an effective annual fee of $250 for the Chase Sapphire Reserve after taking out $300 for the travel credit. So now let's assume that you do give full credit for the Lyft Pink All Access, that you're going to use that program. You now can take $199 also off of that annual fee, that effective annual fee we have. And now we've gone from $250 now to just $51. And that is why I say that I don't ever pay attention to the annual fee, and I don't want you to either. Now why don't we look at an example for the Capital One Venture X. A $395 annual fee. We deduct out the $300 travel credit that we fully expect to utilize, brings us down to an effective annual fee of only $95. But we also have an anniversary credit of 10,000 points, which at 1 cent per point is $100, which will then bring the effective annual fee to where Capital One Venture X is paying us back $5. So how about the American Express Platinum card? That one is a whopping $695 annual fee. But I showed you 3 of the more popular credits that are available. The $200 hotel credit, the $200 Uber credit, as well as the $189 Clear credit. Let's say that you're going to value the Uber credit, and you won't expect to fully utilize that Uber credit all the time, which is what happened with me. So let's say that the Uber credit really is only worth $100 to you over the year and not $200. Well, you're going to reduce that annual fee from $695 by $100 down to making the effective annual fee $595. And so with over $1,500 worth of credits, you really need to look at each and every credit to determine what value it has to you, to see if it makes sense to have a $695 credit card. And those benefits also include determining what the value of lounges are to you as well. So what is my strategy going forward? When it comes to the American Express Platinum card, I'm paying for each of us to have a Platinum credit card, and that's costing $1,390 per year. Now, I did consider changing one of the cards and just making it an authorized user, but the numbers don't work out. By reducing one of the cards to an authorized user, I could save $500, but I've ran through all the benefits and I know that I get more than that in value for the benefits. For instance, I fully utilize the $200 hotel credit each year. I also use the $189 Clear credit. And as far as the Uber credit, while it's valued at $200, I give it a value of $100 or so. And I also utilize the airline credit of $200. And so those all together, not to mention a few others, exceeds what I'm looking at for that effective annual fee. When it comes to the Capital One Venture X, my wife has the card and I'm an authorized user on hers. I applied for the card last year but did not get it. At this point, I don't necessarily see myself applying again for the Venture X anytime soon. I don't think I'm missing out on anything, and we have a nice setup as one person having the card and having a $0 cost on having an authorized user. As for the Sapphire Reserve, I've decided my wife is going to get the card. While I love the $300 travel credit and how easy it is to use, I just am not seeing enough additional benefits to bring down that effective annual fee to make it worth having more than one of those cards. With us already having the Venture X and the Platinum, we really have kind of overlapped a lot of the benefits that come with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Because we normally travel together, I don't mind being her +1 at a Sapphire Lounge. And if I do happen to be traveling by myself, I still have access to Priority Pass, to the Capital One lounges, as well as American Express's global network. So let me know in the comments if any of your thoughts have changed about the cards you have or the cards you may be looking to get. Having a premium travel credit card in your wallet can bring some excellent protections and benefits that's going to make your travel experience so much better. But to get to that vacation, you're going to need credit cards that are going to generate you thousands of points and miles on your everyday spend. And I know of 6 credit cards that are going to get you there 10 times faster, and they're right here.